ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ पुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Together we chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verses 21 to 30. कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतु प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसत्यो निजन्मसु उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तः देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः स एवं वेति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयोऽभिजायते ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये साङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे अन्ये त्वेवमजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्यः उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गमम् क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तद्विद्धि भरतर्षभ समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरं विनश्यत्स्व विनश्यन्तं यः पश्यति स पश्यति समं पश्यन् हि सर्वत्र समवस्थितमीश्वरम् न हि नस्यात्मनात्मानं ततो याति परां गतिम् प्रकृतैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति. So we are not having bhajans or chanting happening now because the recorded versions happening now because there's some problem with Zoom. So we have borrowed this account and we are just being very careful, not doing anything. The Aditi's bhajans also we are not playing, nothing we're doing. I said play Aditi's bhajan. She won't start a copyright on us, but even But the team was very careful and said, no, Baba, we are not doing anything. So that's why you're not hearing any bhajans, any chanting. Now, let's see, where were we? Last time we said we were speaking about how, if you understand the truth, no rules are applicable to you. When you are a very small child, okay, you are told, don't touch the, what is this, the plugs. You're not allowed to go anywhere near those electricity buttons. You can't switch on the fan, you can't switch on the light, you can't go anywhere close to the bottom. That's what you're told when you're a young child. And as you grow up, you are, of course, allowed to switch on lights and fans and plug in whatever, charge your phone, do whatever it is you wish to do. But you're still not allowed to go into that electric box. You know what's on the electric box, right? They put big skulls and bones. This will be your picture if you go there. That's what it means. So they're not allowed to touch this. Now, if you notice the progress, you will realize that the more the knowledge about something, the more you're allowed to touch it. Like an electrical engineer, for instance, enters that box. It's got skull and bones on it, but he goes in. How come? Because his knowledge level allows that. When you're young in the spiritual path, there are some do's, don'ts. As you mature, those few do's and don'ts start reducing. But when you reach the ultimate, there are no do's, there are no don'ts, because your knowledge is complete. Now, this is difficult to understand, so you can understand it from an emotional perspective also. Your love is complete. When your love or your knowledge is complete, nobody can tell you what to do or not to do, because you have done with the best of intentions and the best of knowledge. Nobody can do this better than you. Therefore, he says, Sarvatha Varthavanopi Nasa Bhuyo Abhijayat. Means he can Sarvatha Vartamano. What a blanket statement. And this is a philosophy class. It's not like what we are talking generally. Kuch bhi bolo. Nobody loves me. You make a statement like that. Or everybody is a corrupt person. I think in life we talk like this. Everybody, including the person you're speaking to. Everybody. So, in life we make all these random statements. So Deepraj won't make random statements. He's trained, because as a mathematics, it's either the whole set, not the whole set, subset, something you have to say. You can't just say everybody whenever you want. So in a philosophy classroom, it's very precise. You can't say every way, everything, because when you say every, you mean every. That means you mean not a single exception to this. So what is his statement? Sarvatha vartamanopi. Sarvatha, sarva. You understand the word sarva? All, every. He could do anything. So it says, oh, he went and killed that person. And in Tamil, they say, Adavum Nandre. That also is good. Oh, you know how he did? He spoke all these horrible things about you. Adavum Nandre. Whatever he does is accepted as good. Okay. Adavum Nandre means that is also good. Whatever it is, that is also good. Now, please be careful. This is not applicable to us. This is applicable to a self-realized person. Because why is it applicable? Because no matter whatever he does, he cannot gain
Desire.
He cannot gain desire. That is why it is applicable to him. When we do negative activity, we will gain desire for sure. Because there's an intent in that activity. And whenever there's an intent, there is the creation of desire. So, not applicable to us. It's applicable only to a self-realized person. A self-realized person can do anything. Krishna can do anything. Rama can do anything. Mahavir, Buddha, they can do anything. You won't question it because it's based on complete knowledge and complete love. I mean, both are the same thing. If you have complete knowledge, you'll have complete love. And if you have complete love, you will have complete knowledge. They're not two things, they're the same thing. So he says, Na sa bhuyo abhichayati. He is not born again. What is the cause for birth?
Desires.
As long as you have vasanas, you will be born again. He has no desires and he is incapable of creating desires, and therefore he is not born again. Born also means subject to change. He is not subject to change. In other words, whatever state he is in, that will continue eternally. Neither will he be, not neither. What that means he'll continue, it means no change in anything happening is any change for him. He's not affected by any kind of change. His state of knowledge, love, and happiness continues exactly the same. No difference. Okay, verse 24 is clear. Avatars are born without desire. Oh, okay, good question, Momita. At least it shows you all are listening. Avatars are born without desire. No, it is not possible for a person to be born without desire because that's the rule. The rule is only when there is a desire can there be birth. Only. These words are very important. Only when there's a desire can there be a birth. No desire means no birth. So then what is the concept of Avatara Purusha? This is the concept of Avatara Purusha. Avatar means gone beyond. That's what the word means. So it's a Purusha who has gone beyond. That means a self-realized soul. Now, a self-realized soul cannot be born. Why can't a self-realized soul be born?
Because he has no desires.
Because he has no desires. So far, so good, right? Then how do we say that these avatar Purushas were born? What it means is these great souls in some previous janma, in the previous janma, must have completed their whole sadhana and left behind a small trace of some desire. Because unless that desire is there, they cannot be born. So it must have been some small trace or some small thing, and just in the very early years or in the womb itself, that final desire was exhausted. Let us say that he had a desire for security, just security. Then maybe in the womb that was exhausted. Maybe he had a desire for something, he was just born and was exhausted. So what it means when you say Avatara Purusha, you mean self-realization took place at a very early age with no sadhana. Because the sadhana was already completed. Now just some remnant was left and that was gotten rid of at a very early age without any effort on their part. It was just an experience they needed to have and they got it and they realized. That's the concept of Avatara Purusha. That's why you see these people from very early age exhibiting the signs of greatness. Oh my God, so much problem you're all having. Komal. Yes, okay. Komal, yeah, let's go step by step.
Yeah, regarding this only, like what is coming to mind is, like it is said, these avatars, they come for the desire to uplift the humanity. Like Krishna's famous statement is, ki yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. Like I come for this. So that was the desire for avatars. Can we take it? No.
No. Think of it like this. Suppose you went to sleep at night. Okay? And in your dream, you dreamt that you were living with very poor people who were suffering from penury and ill health, and they were all miserable. They were starving to death. It was a horrible, horrible experience. Okay, in the dream. Then you woke up. You suddenly woke up. It was so horrible, you woke up. Will you go back to that dream to help those poor people there?
Not possible.
So how can you? Not possible. So if the person has understood that this is all, the whole thing is a dream, is he going to want to come back and help us here? There is no such concept. Then you will have the next question. This much is
Misunderstood
clear?
maybe that statement and that
Yeah,
part
one
is
second.
misunderstood.
So much is clear?
Yes, yes.
All right. So now you will have a second sentence question which you're going to ask. So I'm going to ask for you right now. You're going to say then, why does it say in the Gita he will come again? The moment you absorb what I have just said, this will be your next problem. Maybe not now, we'll come up sometime. So let's finish it. So
Okay.
you will say, then how come in the Gita he says so? In the Gita, when he says so, what that line means is that whenever a demand is created, the supply will be there. Like for instance, if the situation gets really bad, okay, like let's say that was pre-independence, and the British were ruling us, and the situation was getting very bad, and everybody was clamoring for independence. Somebody comes and takes the mantle. This is the law of life. Like even now, today, people are like, what is going on over here? Wars are going on. Some people are dying of starvation and poverty. Some people are very, very rich. Everybody is suffering lifestyle ailments. So somebody has to get up and say, okay, let's do something. So, like that, many people will start getting up and doing something. Of these, one will do something spectacular. So then he will be considered the what is it called? The Yuga Purush. The person who actually served that particular era or something. So as you create the demand, the supply will be there. If you don't create the demand, the supply won't be there. For instance, when you started going to Bhagavad Gita, you created a demand, so a supply was available for you. So many people say, oh my God, these classes have been going on for so many years. I didn't even know. You didn't know because you didn't create a demand. The moment you created a demand, you will know. Nothing to do with this particular class, anything. It could be an interest in painting or roller skating or anything. You create a demand, supply will be there. You create a demand for drugs will be there. So, like suppose I ask you, Komal, I want some drugs. Can you get them for me? You'll say, oh, I don't know where to get drugs from. Why do you not know where to get drugs from? There is no demand. But some other people, if you tell them, give me some drugs, fatafat, they'll organize it. Now, please don't ask me who are these people. I do not know them. I'm only saying that whoever has a demand will have a supply. Do you drink, Komal? Do you have alcohol?
Sometimes. What?
Okay.
No. I thought, do you dream, you are saying?
Okay. I also got a bit surprised. So you don't drink alcohol. Does anybody send you a scotch bottle for your birthday?
No.
No. No demand, no supply.
Right.
So what does that mean? I will come. Whenever there's a fall in dharma, I will come means whenever there's a fall in dharma, there will be so much agitation created that there will be a demand for somebody to do something. And somebody will do it.
So that person is already alive and then he is doing something. It's not that he thought of coming because the world is suffering. So he was somewhere and he thought, okay, let me go and do something. It's not like that.
No.
He was there only and he helped.
Yes, and his heart was breaking to see his people suffer, so he did something about it.
So
There'll be not one person.
you do what is needed and what is required. That is a self-realized person. Whatever it is. Like whatever is required to do at that moment, you will take up that work.
Yes, but
That means
this particular person may or may not be self-realized. What it means is where there's a demand, there's a supply.
Oh.
He may become self-realized because he served so much. That is possible.
it's too deep. Yeah. It is. Thank you.
Okay, so then who was Aditi? I think you were next.
Hari Om Janki ji, I can't fathom that fact, what you said. How can you be realized if you have that little bit also?
You're not realized. The previous Janma where you died, you were not realized. You had a bit of desire, so you're not a realized person. When
Okay.
you're born in this Janma, and you just needed one experience, something very petty, very small, something was left behind. And so in your very early childhood, without you putting in effort, that experience you had, and your last desire was completed.
I misunderstood it as the realized soul comes back again into the womb.
Impossible.
Possible. Yeah, that was the
No, it
dilemma.
would not realize in the past Janma. That's very important.
So
Got
we
it.
cannot say Shri Krishna and Rama, they were self-realized because they had come back. So they were not realized, it means.
No.
Jivan Mukta, what does it? Jivan Mukta is after death or before death is also possible.
Don't change language. That's even more confusing. In the previous Janma, they had finished their complete sadhana. They may have even realized, but they died. Okay? Now they're left with some stupid petty thing. Because of that desire, they are born. And when they are born, that was a silly, stupid thing. Could have been, I want one ice cream. I don't know. Some silly desire must have gone into their head at some point. So as a child, they got the ice cream, or they got the security, or they got whatever silly thing it was that they asked. So that's the story of Krishna, right? He's born in the jail. But then miraculously, all the jail doors open, and all the chains fall off. What is it telling us? Little bit you're born with, it is now gone. Now you're gone to a blissful one.
We can say he was born at the time of birth only he got realized.
Yes. Okay. Deepraj?
Yeah, I'm just hung up on a technicality. So the only pathway to realization is through meditation. That's correct. And meditation is one of the highest effort stuff that we do in our whole sadhana. There is nothing higher than meditation. So now, how am I supposed to digest the fact that a baby in the womb is doing meditation and he gets realization there?
Yeah. So no, he doesn't do any meditation. That is why a necessity for self-realization for Avatar Purusha is you did no sadhana in this journey. So you did no meditation in this journey. You did no sadhana. Under sadhana, meditation will come. What it is, I don't know. Now let's take an example. Suppose suppose you go on a holiday. You take with you 100 rupees and you go on a holiday. All right. Your ticket back is, let's say, 20 rupees. All right. So you spend all your money and you leave for yourself 5 rupees to eat one badata vada. So you spend 75 rupees, went to your railway station, bought your ticket, and then when you were getting off from the train and you were very hungry, you gave the 5 rupees, got one batata vada because you'd come to Mumbai, okay, because that's what you get over here. You get one vada pav, you had the vada pav, you finished. All the money was now over. You're not doing any expense here, as it were, but whatever tiny little thing was left, you have now finished. So in the previous Janma, you have done the entire sadhana, including meditation. Right? But it so happened at that point that your prarabdha vasanas got over, leaving you with one sanchita vasana. Right? Not one sanchita vasana. Leaving you with prarabdha vasana, which you're going to have, obviously, and one sanchita vasana. Sanchita vasana over, but you continue to stay alive. But the point of all that is, forget the technicality so much. I mean, I just put in this Prarabdha and Sanchita now, but the important thing is that he's done no sadhana this journey. He has completed his sadhana. He was only born with one or two vasanas which were just finished through experience. He didn't need to put in any effort. Imagine that this person is like 99.9% there. we haven't still covered Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and also I don't want to go down that street. I don't think you've studied Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Okay, so forget about that at the moment. Just think that one or two desires are left. He's almost at universal affection or a universal knowledge, almost there, one step away. And all that he requires was some experience, maybe the security of the womb, some experience.
But the vasanas that we exhaust through experience, we have to categorically put them in prarabdha. They cannot be put in sanchita.
Converse is not true.
Converse is not true.
No, of course not. Otherwise, no sanchita vasana will you ever be able to eradicate through fulfillment. That means the theory should tell you that don't try to fulfill anything. That's not true.
Okay, thank you.
Subrata Chaudhary, they take birth to teach us spiritual lesson. No, they are not interested in teaching us any lesson. Prashant Nair, if they are interested in teaching us any spiritual lessons, that means they're not realized. Go back to the example of you being in the dream. In the dream, there are all these poverty-stricken, unhappy, miserable people. Then you wake up. Will you want to go back to the dream to help those people? No, right? No question of him wanting to teach us. They don't forget, they take birth to teach us spiritual lessons. They're not even interested in teaching us spiritual lessons when they're there. We need not worry about their birth also. They don't have desires. Prashant Naik, any prarabdha for avtara? Prashant, yes, definitely there is prarabdha for an avtara purusha because how do we know there has to be prarabdha for an avatar purusha?
He's
By
alive.
prarabdha, I mean prarabdha vasanas. Okay, the word prarabdha means something different. Prarabdha vasanas have to be there for an avtara purusha because
they're
He's
born.
alive.
It's alive.
Born.
He's
They are-
alive.
not because they're born, because they're alive.
Uh-huh.
When your prarabdha vasanas get over, what happens to you?
Death.
Death. You're alive, that means you have prarabdha vasanas. I don't know anything about people in this class, but one thing I know for all of us here, and that is,
All of us are prarabdha
We
vasanas.
are alive.
yes, we all have prarabdha vasanas. That much is established by the fact that you're here. By the fact that I hope you are here and alive. I don't know what is happening because your videos are switched off, but
Till you are alive, you are not self-realized.
no. Oh my God, this is getting very complicated. Let's start again. There are two types of vasanas, prarabdha and sanchita. Sanchita vasanas are those vasanas which you can remove through knowledge. Prarabdha vasanas are those vasanas which you cannot remove through knowledge.
Right.
Right? When sanchita vasanas get over, you are
Self-realized.
self-realized. When prarabdha vasanas get over, you are
Dead.
dead.
Okay.
But
And
not immediately, no?
Agami
not immediately.
vasanas,
Wait, what do you mean not immediately?
Agami will get into the Sanchit till you are, when you are alive.
Don't go somewhere else. Just do sanchita and prarabdha. There are two types of vasanas, sanchita vasanas and prarabdha vasanas. Sanchita means total, right? Sanchita vasanas can be removed through knowledge. Please notice the word, Deepraj. Sanchita vasanas can be removed through knowledge means
You
They can be
overcome
removed
it.
as well.
they
Like
can be
you are
removed by
transcended.
other means as well. Listen carefully. In philosophy, you're expected to listen carefully. Can doesn't mean are only. Can means they could be removed through knowledge. That means they have other methods of being removed. Which is the other method by which you can remove sanchita vasanas?
Fulfillment.
Meditation.
What?
Experience.
Fulfillment.
Experience. So
Realization
Sanchita
of the truth.
vasanas can be removed through experience or knowledge. So remove experience because irrelevant to our discussion. So therefore we say Sanchita vasanas can be removed with knowledge. Prarabdha vasanas can only be removed through
Undergoing,
Experience.
Experience.
facing it,
what?
accepting and facing them, accepting.
No, Homa, you're not
Experience.
listening at all. Correct. What accepting, what facing, whether you accept or not.
You have
Prarabdha vasanas will go to their end. You may love them or hate them, it doesn't matter. It will go to the end. I mean, you won't even be able to love them or hate them. Prarabdha vasana is something you're born with. Like you're born with, I don't know, you're born a woman, you're born in India. These are your prarabdha vasanas. You cannot change them.
so till you are alive, prarabdha has to be there.
Adyo. When prarabdha vasanas get over, you die.
And then you are not reborn if Sanchit is also over.
That's correct. When your sanchita vasanas get over, you are
Not born again.
self-realized.
Realized.
Self-realized.
So self-realization is after death.
No. Too many confusions you create. Komal, fix your mind on one thing. There are two types of vasanas. Sanchita vasanas. Sanchita, the word means total. These vasanas can be removed through
Knowledge.
knowledge. The other type of vasanas, a very small segment, is known as your prarabdha vasanas. They can be removed through
Exhaustion.
experience. Experience. Now, when sanchita vasanas get over, you are
Self-realized.
Self-realized.
when prarabdha vasanas get over, you are
Dead.
okay. Just hold on to this thought for the moment. So
Right.
Prashant Nair,
Madam,
Yes,
Prashant
go
Nair,
on.
madam.
Huh.
Madam, my doubt is that because if we consider Krishna is the next avatara from Rama, then Rama was self-realized. So Sanchita was zero. Then when the avatara is taken as Krishna, how is that prarabdha created?
No, so this belief is a Puranic belief. There is no such thing as first he became a tortoise and then he became this and then he became this. That's not correct. What it means is that they are supposed to be avatars of Vishnu. Avatar means one who has crossed over. Vishnu means the all-pervading. So when the all-pervading expresses itself fully, that means Brahman expresses itself fully through some equipment, that is known as an Avatara Purusha. Now, when you say Rama and Krishna, both avatars are the same thing. They're both avatars of Brahman. There is no difference between them. It's not like X became Y. It is that X and Y are the same.
Is this a special case of our theory? Sanchita, avatara is a special case. No, it's the same
Especially
thing.
in the sense, it's very unusual that you did your whole sadhana and only one vasana or two vasanas were left. It's an unusual case. And because it's so unusual, avatar purushas are so few. I mean, most likely, if you did your whole sadhana, you will probably finish it in this janma, right? But it's very unusual that something like this remains. So therefore, if it did, it's a very, it's like a miraculous thing, right? This little thing remained, and therefore from childhood, that person will exhibit amazing qualities. So when you look at him, you say, my God, what kind of child is this? So because it's so unusual for such a thing to happen, it's called miracle. But it is not that Rama was born as Krishna. It is that Rama and Krishna are the same. Means they are both manifestations of that Vishnu. Vishnu meaning the all-pervading. The expression of the all-pervading is complete when you have purified your equipments. That's what that sentence actually means. Momita, why do we feel likes and dislikes for prarabdha, like being man, woman, fair, dark, tall? You don't really feel, whatever is your prarabdha vasana, you may not even recognize it exists. So you don't really feel likes and dislikes for prarabdha vasanas. Like
No,
suppose
like-
for instance, I'll give you an example. Suppose there's a man and he's very against being a man. That means for him, being a man is not prarabdha vasana. He could probably do surgery and hormone and whatever, and become a woman. So for him, it isn't a prarabdha vasana. But for the rest of us mere mortals, we don't even think about these things, Born a woman, you're born a woman, born a man, you're born a man. I mean, until you come to philosophy and unnecessarily start thinking about things. I mean, nobody thinks about whether they are a man or woman, or anything. A particular color of your skin, for instance, is a given. You're not going to change it, or the shape of your nose. I don't know. But suppose you're Michael Jackson and you start thinking, oh my God, I don't want a nose like this. I want a nose like that. Then that nose for you is not a product. For Tyagaraja, for instance, sinking was a prarabdha vasana. For Ramatirtha, teaching this sublime knowledge was a prarabdha vasana. So you see, you really know your prarabdha vasanas only after realization, because those are the things that are still there. So you don't really have a reaction. So you may not even know that you have that thing for prarabdha vasana. But it's difficult to give examples because prarabdha vasana can be anything, right? It need not be something in particular. That's why you're saying, every time I give an example, you say, no, but I have a view about that. Then it's not your prarabdha vasana. The prarabdha vasana will be something which is just too taken for granted. So, I'm not letting you say what you want to say, which is basically that, I have a reaction to these things because it's not relevant to the argument. I'm not just superimposing unnecessarily. Yeah. One second, let's go in order. Aditi has been patiently waiting.
Jankiji, I don't know how to phrase this, but how does one have the goal of self-realization when one does not even understand that state of permanent bliss and happiness without having a body? So is it lack of knowledge that doesn't allow you to? Because there's something known and there's something unknown, and that unknown is just not fathomable in the sense, what is the state after having no body? So I don't know. I don't know how to phrase this, but this is a question that has been there since I have started this journey.
Okay. So, well, you can't superimpose that desire. How can you get it? Nobody knows the answer to that question. If anybody knew the answer to that question, we would have made a vaccine out of it and given it to everybody. But we don't know how to answer that question. Nobody knows. I don't say, oh, you're so dumb, you don't know the answer. No, you can pour through the scriptures, they all say the same thing. There's no way to create the desire. Either you have it or you don't have it. That's that. And so then obviously you ask, well, one day I didn't have it. I mean, obviously the person who has it, one day he didn't have it, and then another day he has it. How does this happen? Don't know. How does it happen? I don't know. Nobody knows. The theoretical answer given to that is that you have something known as Purushartha, and your Purushartha decided to go towards Brahman. That's it. There's no explanation. All of this is like saying, basically, it's just saying, I don't know. The long
Is
way of
this lack
saying,
of knowledge? Because maybe some people,
no, not at all. Nothing to do with knowledge, because there can be people who've never heard of the scriptures but crave for realization.
Is it because you're happy in your space as whatever is happening, and then so you feel that, oh, this body is um what
There
is
are
it
so
without the
many,
body?
think about it, no? So many happy people in this world, do they come to us? So many unhappy people in this world, do they come to scriptures? There are happy people who don't take to scriptures. There are unhappy people who don't take to scriptures. There is no explanation for it. And there is just no way you can bridge the divide. No way. I mean, people who care for you deeply, who believe in you, who respect your views, if you go and tell them that realization is something we have to strive for, they can't relate. They don't know what you're talking about. You try and find an intelligent person and give all the logic and reason why you should strive for realization. They don't know what you're talking about. There is no explanation.
So Janki ji, then when we do so personally for me, moving up the ladder in terms of higher goals and upping your game as a human being completely resonates with me. So does that also take you to self-realization, or that also doesn't take you to the goal of self-realization? Again, I don't know, maybe I know your answer, but I would
What is
like
my answer? Tell me.
nobody knows that.
No, see, if you work for higher goals, this much we know that your desires will reduce. This
Yes,
much we know.
yes,
When your desires reduce, this much also we know that you will be more happy, you'll be more successful, you'll be more powerful, you'll be more dynamic. All these results will take place.
absolutely.
Now, it is possible that when your level of desires comes down, you will see something bigger and greater. It is also possible that you can settle down at that level and not see anything. So there is no law over there. It is so. I mean, if you took something to Purushartha level, that means you really don't have an explanation going on here. It is possible that you could be a highly evolved soul and not want realization. It is also possible that you could be a lowly evolved soul and want realization. All permutations and combinations are possible. Why does somebody want it? Nobody can say. It's like you love Himanshu. Now, suppose I ask you, why do you love Himanshu? You will justify it. Having loved him, you will then say, oh, see all these beautiful qualities. But you didn't love him for the beautiful qualities. You loved him and therefore saw beautiful qualities. Those who don't love him will not see those beautiful qualities. So, why did you love him? So now can I tell somebody else, see, Aditi loves Himanshu so much, you should also love Himanshu. Okay? So it's a switch. It's either there or it's not there. Nobody can do anything. That's why they call these things acts of God. Acts of God means we can't do anything about it. So why does a person want realization? No idea. If you grow, will you want it? No idea. No idea in the sense that there is a possibility as the desire levels come down that you will be able to perceive something greater in you. But it's not necessary. Can we make the statement that everybody in a Vedanta class, I'm saying in a Vedanta class, I don't want to make this sound like if you're devolved, you're here. Okay, so in any Vedanta class or any scripture, can you say that anybody in any Vedanta or scriptural class across any religion, okay, they want it? They are all better than every atheist? Can you make that statement? No. It is quite possible that people who are striving for spiritual things are much worse than people who are not. It is possible. And we all must be knowing people like that, right? People who we look up to, people who we respect, but we realize that spiritual interest is zero.
I think I've asked this question many ways, these questions. Is it fear of the unknown? I think once I'd asked you of the same thing. and things like that. So, or maybe is it too logically that, or analytically that I'm overthinking about these things, so these questions bother me a lot in terms of, like how someone is so, so for self-realization when they don't really know what that whole space is all about.
Absolutely, but think about it. Just before a girl wants to marry a boy, she knows nothing about that boy, but she wants to marry him, or vice versa. She knows nothing about that space. She doesn't know what is marriage. She doesn't know what that man is. But now she's all ready and she's set off. Her parents will tell her, "Are you mad? Why are you marrying this person?" But she'll no, I'm going to marry this one. I mean, I'm not suggesting your parents told you that, but who's going to listen? Nobody listens.
I think this example is really very effective in figuring this, what you said. Thank you so much. Yes, thanks a lot.
Jankiji, on this point, when we say evolved person may not want realization, we mean unselfish person, right? Because he may get carried away with, yeah, okay.
No, even if he's not carried away, even if he's doing it in a very nice manner, even then he may not want it. Wanting, there is no explanation to wanting. You want it or you don't want it. We have told you 100 times, marry this girl, marry that girl. You say, no, I don't want to. Now, who can say anything to you? But one day you will bring a girl and say to us, I want to marry this one. And we can tell you, oh, but the ones we showed were much better. You say, no, but I want to marry this one. So there is no explanation to wanting. Anybody can want anything.
Yes, okay, hits home. Thank you.
Prashant Nair, what is the definition? Nobody else. What is this? You all are just not letting the Bhagavad Gita take place today. What is the definition for avatara? Definition of avatara is a person who, having finished most of his sadhana in the previous janma, has left behind a desire or a few desires because of which he is born again. These few desires are not removed through sadhana, but through experience. So, in other words, if you have to shorten this whole story, you'll say Avatara Purusha is a person who has achieved self-realization early in life without sadhana. The first one is more explanatory, the second one just states. Are you okay, Prashant?
Yes, madam. Self-realized person with few desires. But
Don't say few desires. A person who has achieved self-realization without sadhana in this janma. He has not, with few desires, one desire, that is not the point. You've achieved self-realization in this janma without sadhana. You can't see sadhana. Do you see any sadhana for Krishna? No sadhana, right? No karma, no bhakti, no jnana. From birth only he starts showing divinity. So no sadhana seen in this janma. Momita. So what does marketing our cause achieve? What marketing our cause achieves is that those who have an interest, we can light a fire under them. We cannot do anything for those who have no interest. But those who do have interest, we can, what should I say, create a conducive environment to flame that interest. That we can do. Yes, Komal.
Yes, actually, the question came to the mind is that why were these Purana stories were created? Because they are most of the time so confusing and they take the understanding in some other way. Like we had one example today that Rama was born as avatar of Krishna, like is the second Vishnu avatar. But that story confuses everybody and they take avatars as God. So, which is not
No,
true.
but the avatars are God because they're
Means
self-realized
Brahman,
souls.
you can say. Brahman is one big entity and Avatara is one part of that, or it is
No,
manifested.
Same.
But
Brahman
manifested as Rama or manifested as Krishna.
and no difference between Brahman
It's
and
not
Brahman.
It's Brahman only. Yes, as such, to be, I'm also Brahman.
Correct.
But Krishna has got more manifested Brahman qualities.
Krishna, you, and Brahman are all the same.
Yes.
Brahman is when you're talking about it with reference to the whole.
Hmm.
Krishna is when we're talking about a person who knows it. And you and I are people who don't know this. Okay? So
My
there's no real
question was
difference between
like
all
why
those.
the Purana stories were created, and that I think.
You are asking a good question because the next verse is just going to tell us, I think. Yes. The next verse is going to tell us that, so we will deal with it in the next verse. Shall we do the next verse?
Yes, sure.
Everybody else has settled down with this? Okay. So now let's do the next verse because we are going to be discussing this very aspect that Komal has brought about. The two verses, 25 and 26, are read together. ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये साङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे अन्ये त्वेवमजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्यः उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये साङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे अन्ये त्वेवमजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्यः उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः. This verse begins our next topic, which is how to realize the self. So what did he tell us last verse? That once you realize the self, you can live any which way. No rules, no discipline, nothing is applicable to you. So now everybody is interested. Acha, this is a very nice life. मैं कुछ भी कर सकता हूँ. कुछ भी कर सकते हो. So now this is great for us. So obviously, how do you reach this state? So this is a very interesting verse because this is the verse that sort of explains the path to us in a sort of comprehensive manner. So dhyanena atmani pashyantu kechit. Dhyanena means tritiya vibhakti. Dhyanena, by dhyanam, by meditation. Some kechit, some pashyanti, see. Some people realize the self, behold the self, in the self, by meditation. Anye Sankhya Yogena. Others by Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga means Jnana Yoga. Karma Yogena cha apare. Apare means others by Karma Yoga. Do you happen to have that chart of the 3 yogas and all? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I have it. I showed you.
Then it says, Anya. Okay, others. So what have we covered? Some people will find the self through meditation. some through Sankhya. Sankhya is philosophy, means Jnana Yoga. Then some through Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, you're aware, through action. Then others, he says. These all he sort of put in one verse. Then he's got another verse here. He says, Anye tu evam ajananta. In all these three processes, the intellect is involved. Okay, here is the thing. So you see, three yogas, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, leads us to withdrawal, concentration, meditation. And meditation is the final gateway towards samadhi or self-realization. Okay, so this is the process of the spiritual path. You do karma, bhakti, jnana, whichever one you do, you come to uparati, which means some mental withdrawal, your desires have come down. Once you've achieved that, you become capable of concentration. And after you become capable of concentration, you go to meditation. And meditation then enables you to reach samadhi. Now, most people try to do this meditation right in the beginning. If you try to do meditation in the beginning, your meditation has to fail because you're doing it at the wrong time. It's like you say, you're making a cake. How do you make a cake? You bake it. So what you do is, you put your vessel into the oven to bake it. Will you get a cake? Because you didn't do the previous things. Which is, you take some maida, you take butter, you do all this, you make the mixture, then you can bake it. You're beginning by baking the vessel. You won't get a cake. You say, okay, baking I have to do. No, I'm doing that. In the meanwhile, I'm mixing the maida and the butter and whatever. Can it work like that? In cooking, you can't make it this step before that step just like that. You have to go step by step. Okay, what do you do first? What do you say second? What do you do third? So in spiritual life also, it's just like first you do the three yogas, then you do concentration, then you do meditation, and then you get to self-realization. This is the path. So what is he saying? Some people are at the meditation level. They will do meditation and realize. Some people are doing Jnana Yoga. They will continue down this path and realize. Some people are doing Karma Yoga. They will also continue and reach self-realization. But others, okay, others. This is an interesting thing. But others. Why is he segregated this in another topic? You know, logically speaking, you should have put Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga in one and meditation on the next because that's a highly evolved state. He's not segregated like that. He's segregated as Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, meditation one set, and then Anye, Te, Avachanantaha, not knowing any of this, not knowing any of the system, not having knowledge, not having an intellect. They are not involved in this. They don't know what you're talking about when you tell them all this. It's not the systematic process, the systematic growth. Avajanantaha, not knowing anything. What do they do? Shruti Parayana. Shruti Parayana means they listen to somebody saying something. And they have a lot of devotion in them. And that takes them through. Not knowing. Not knowing means not understanding the ways of logic and reason and system and discipline, not understanding any of this. Worship the Supreme, having heard from others. They just have faith and belief. They too, they also cross beyond death, taking refuge in what they have heard. So what did they hear? They heard the Puranas. They heard the stories. They loved the Lord through that. And they realized. Okay, you can remove this Manish. Since we didn't have much time, we couldn't do too much in detail, but we'll continue with this idea next time. What is the quality of the person at the junction of the three yogas? And he has very few desires and therefore becomes capable of concentration. His desire level has reduced considerably. I mean, the bulk of his desires has been removed. That's what he's at the junction of the three yogas. Then Bharat. Bharat has an announcement for us.
Yes.